two. Hey. Hey, 1, 2, 1, 2. Check, 1, 2, 2, 2. Hey, hey.
That Stephen Harper was not legitimately elected. Whether he was directly involved in the fraud or not, does not change the fact that the fraud occurred.
Does not change the fact that the fraud occurred.
And does not change the fact that it altered the election result.
And does not change the fact that it altered the election results.
Under the Elections Act, the fact that this is true should have resulted in a new election being called.
The fact that this is true should have resulted in a new election being called.
I'd like to welcome everybody and thank you for all coming down. We're here, despite a very loud mic check of another nature, to celebrate the passage of the 2012 On-To-Ottawa Trekkers through Regina. I just wanted to speak briefly to the history of the On-To-Ottawa Trek. And sort of frame it against what these guys are doing, because they're brave. They're so brave. They're heroes to us all. But first, I'd like to tell a quick parable. I want to make sure everybody's familiar with this one. The parable of the frog. It is said that if you want to cook a frog, if you take a pot of boiling water and throw a frog in it, he'll jump out because it's hot. However, you put that same frog into a pot of water and slowly heat it to a boil, and you'll get really good frog.
That's what I was doing.
Because showing the crowd. I think that's a pretty good parable for a lot of the conditions that we're in, and we'll see how that plays through this story here a little bit as well. In the severe economic depression of the 1929 to 1939, Canadian Labour engaged in many fierce battles. One of the highlights was the general strike of young unemployed single men in work camps in the province of BC on Canada's west coast in April 1935. There they labored 6.5 days a week for the paltry wage of 20 cents a day. The strikers abandoned the camps and congregated in the city of Vancouver. After 2 months of valiant but unsuccessful struggle for union wages, they decided to take their case direct to Ottawa, the nation's capital, 3,000 miles to the east. Their journey was enshrined in history as the On-To-Ottawa Trek. They left Vancouver on June 3rd, riding the rod on and in railway freight cars. Across mountains and prairie, they reached Regina, still only halfway to Ottawa. Right here, just a little ways over that way, over my right shoulder, they were stopped by the RCMP on orders from Ottawa, and a month later, the strike was brutally smashed on July 1st. Sorry, that was the event that was just over my right shoulder, in a police-inspired riot, and its leaders were arrested. Their epic strike and trip captured the hearts and minds of Canadians. While the strike was suppressed, it wasn't lost. In the federal election a few months later, the hated, repressive, conservative government of Prime Minister R.B. Iron Heel Bennett went down to resounding defeat.
You guys are up there with the most amazing. We've spent a lot of time here. That's because this is the commemoration of a trek that happened 77 years ago. Big Shot was slain being one of the trekkers. We are a smaller group. We are Occupy. I know.
Symbols of the tradition of free speech.
The original Speaker's Corner.
The original Speaker's Corner
is located in Hyde Park.
Located in Hyde Park.
In London, England.
In London, England.
The origins.
The origins
were born from a struggle.
Were born from the struggle
for civil liberties.
For civil liberties
in Victorian Britain.
In Victorian Britain.
And his establishment. Was a significant milestone.
Was a significant milestone.
In the development of our democratic institutions.
In the development of our democratic institutions.
Some famous people.
Some famous people.
Including George Orwell.
Including George Orwell.
And Karl Marx.
And Karl Marx.
Have spoken from this location.
Have spoken from this location.
In London.
In London.
What Crystal was talking about 1966 when this was mandated, this was brought in by the CCF. I'm not sure if anyone knows what CCF is. If you look it up in the Urban Dictionary, it's very wrong. It's not chili cheese fries. The Cooperative Commonwealth Federation, which was a government that was formed in 1933 here in Regina. Roots in Calgary. National Convention here in July 1933. I would like to read their basic mission statement of the CCF. The CCF is a federation of organizations whose purpose is the establishment of Canada in a cooperative commonwealth in which the principle regulating production, distribution, and exchange will be the supply of human needs and not the making of profits. Now, in plain speak, that simply means we need to put people before money. That's a pretty good mission statement for a government.
Here.
Now, it took them 11 years and a lot of fighting, but the CCF was able to take over that legislature right there. And that legislature became a socialist building.
Have a pretty good sized group.